Hi, it's Sean James here from myselfreliance.com and self-reliantmillionaire.com. I tried to film this short video earlier this morning, but my neighbors are out. It's a Saturday. I'm usually home on Saturdays on the weekends to avoid the crowds on the outdoors. So here I am trying it again. Somebody's probably going to come out and mow their lawn, but anyway, I'm going to give it a shot. What I want to do today is just show you my day pack. A lot of people asking questions about what I take with me on my trips. But this upcoming week, I've got a couple of different things planned. I've been visiting as many of the 1,500 lakes in Algonquin as possible over the last couple of years. And this year, probably going to visit well over 100, I'm hoping. I'm at 60 or 65 or something right now. And the best way for me to start to document more is to do day trips and cover some ground. So I'm going to go out and take some pictures probably on Monday and maybe again later in the week as well. So when I go out and do these little solo trips, when I'm alone on these excursions, I like to cover a lot of ground. I just like to explore, and then I've got the other purpose of being able to document the lakes. So I travel light. So on Monday, if I get out Monday, the weather looks nice, I'm going to hit probably 15 different lakes and travel and I'll travel about 30 or 40, 35 kilometers. Maybe 5 kilometers of portaging in there. So I really want to travel light. So I'm bringing the light canoe, the key weighing 14 foot, and then just a very light day pack. So I just wanted to show you what I'm carrying in my day pack. Because it's a high impact trip, like I said, might be traveling 30-35 kilometers and a lot of portaging. There is the risk that I don't make it in and out in a day, and that I have to spend the night. So I'm going to bring a little bit of survival gear for spending the night outdoors, or for traveling at night if that's what happens. So I'll show you what's in the pack, and then I'll explain a little bit about each piece of gear if I can, and then if you have any questions, just comment below or ask questions below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I'll show you what's in here. Okay, so what am I bringing on these day trips? So here's my bag. Love this bag, bought it a couple years ago. Actually, I bought it for my gym clothes, which is nice for that in the winter. But it's a perfect camp bag, so I ended up actually using this for all my trips. I put my camping gear, like a spare set of clothing, in a bag on this side. General camp stuff that I want to take into the tent or into the bivvy with me. It's very handy for that. It's not 100% waterproof. It's still nylon, so it sheds water from above. But if it's sitting in the canoe, this absorbs water, so everything inside has to be in a waterproof bag as well, which I like anyway. I compartmentalize all of my gear, whether I'm traveling across Europe or just going for a canoe or backpacking trip. I always have little separate bags full of everything so I can pull them out. Like cubes, I guess, are pretty popular for traveling now. This will actually be on my belt, so light my fire striker and ferro rod. It's a good emergency fire starter, so that'll be on my belt at all times. If I capsize and the canoe floats away, I've got that and a knife and a couple other things in my pocket. First aid kit, of course, everybody should be carrying a first aid kit. Mine's very basic. Got some scissors in there for trimming bandages, cutting open the skin or whatever, stitches. I've got some gauze, some tenacious tape, repair tape, good for repairing gear, but also good for a bandage, a really sticky bandage and strong. Painkillers, all the standards, some Band-Aids, Polysporin, alcohol wipes just to keep wounds clean. All of that goes into this and inside that, because this thing's not waterproof either. So that's my basic first aid kit. I also use duct tape as well, which I always carry with me, and that can be used for sewing up or keeping wounds together or making a splint as well. So that goes in the top. It's accessible, easily accessible. I don't have to go searching for it. It's right there on top. I know where it's going to be. So inside the bag, open that right up. So this is, I think, a 12-liter bag. Very, very lightweight. Straps are just thin. No padding, no waist belt. You don't need it for this weight. It's probably 10 pounds or less, including camera gear. So I'm filming with a Canon 80D, and that is my standard camera, DSLR now, with an 18 to 135 lens. Does a fine job for pictures and video. Not fantastic pictures, but good enough. Take this thing with me. It's the Gorilla Pod. Very flexible. Again, it's not quite heavy enough to support that camera, but I can make it work. I can support it on uneven surfaces like rocks. So when you see me canoeing away, it's generally sitting on a rock on the shoreline, sometimes precariously hanging over the water. So it does a good enough job. It's kind of sticky. That goes with me. That'll be in the pack. Often just stays on the camera, and I just stick the whole thing back in the bag when I'm traveling. Primary. On a trip like that, it's going to be hot. It's going to be probably 29 degrees next week, 29, 30 degrees Celsius. So staying hydrated is always a challenge, and it's extra challenging on a high energy trip like that, where I'm trying to make some ground and explore new territory. So here's a Vapor collapsible 1 liter water bottle. Got another ½ liter. I'll probably discard that one and take another 1 liter instead. So I've got 2 1 liter packs, water bottles on the go at all times. Instead of filtering, which takes time, and I end up not doing it enough and getting dehydrated, just using AquaTab. So 1 tab per liter of water, leave it for 15 minutes or more depending on the clarity of the water. So I've got one full one in my pack at all times, and then I've got the other one that I'm drinking from that I just keep rotating throughout the day. I don't like typically carrying water when I'm on a water body and I can dip my cup in there, but I got Giardia last September. I'm not taking any chances anymore. So a liter of water weighs 1 kilogram, so 2.2 pounds roughly. So that's additional weight that goes in the bag. But it's such a light bag, I don't really care on this trip. So that's my hydration system. Food is the other consideration. I'm going to burn a lot of calories on these little day trips. I do on the day trips, and I drag my wife along on a lot of these things, and we end up doing 10, 15, 20 kilometers in a day, and I'm used to it, she's not, but staying fueled is always the challenge for both of us. And I know that I burn about 2,000 calories on a standard day when I'm just working around the house. On a trip like that, I might burn 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 calories. I don't mind losing a little bit of weight, burning some extra calories, good way to kickstart a diet, but I don't want to run out of energy midstream. So I like this Cytomax. This body absorbs it really quickly. It's an energy powder, so carbohydrate, complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrate, sugar, and other good things for you, vitamins and stuff, electrolytes. So 2 scoops, that's 180 calories. That will go in a liter of water. I'll take 4 of these, so that's 720 calories of Cytomax. Beef jerky, not the greatest fuel source for that kind of trip. Protein is kind of redundant, but protein and fat, fairly high density of calories. That's 250 calories in this bag. So, and what I like about it's just extra flavor. I like the salt, I get depleted. So I do like to eat that on a lot of trips, unless I'm going on a vegan or vegetarian trip where I just stick with grains and nuts and fruits and so on. So speaking of that, go-to food has been for generations of outdoorsmen, still is a great fuel. That's just standard trail mix. You got 3 different types of trail mix, some custom ones. Just got these at the bulk barn. Actually, I usually mix my own with organic ingredients. These are non-organic. One of them's organic, I think. I package them in Ziploc snack bags, 100 grams per bag. 100 grams of trail mix with lots of nuts for fat is about 500 to 530 calories. So the nuts are high fat, so depending on the mix, it can be anywhere from 30 to 50% of the calories coming from the oil in the nuts, so fat. So you've got to be careful with that. You make sure you have enough carbohydrates and protein compared to the fat. So try to find some other things. Like I'll add corn or preferably chickpeas, dried chickpeas to that to increase the fat and the protein and carbohydrates without adding fat. So that's my fuel. That and 1,000 or 1,500 calorie breakfast on the way up, along with the other stuff here, and I've got about 3,500 calories. So that'll be enough to get me through a day. Got a couple of bags of toilet paper. Redundancy is important when there's things like tissue or toilet paper that can absorb water. If that bag springs a leak and ruins that, then I know I have another one at least. So some things I always recommend redundancy. That's one of them, though it's not a real emergency if you don't have toilet paper, but lighters and matches and so on, I always do 2 or 3 separate bags of those. I haven't needed bug repellent much this year, but this is not heavy to carry. This has lasted me 2 or 3 years. A little bit left in here, nice and lightweight. And if the this time of year black flies are done, deer flies will just lick this off and bite you anyway. Mosquitoes, if I'm stuck out there in the dusk and you know, some swampy areas, the mosquitoes might get bad, so I'm going to carry that with me. Might not use it, but I'll carry it. Belt knife, always on my belt. If I capsize and lose my gear, got a knife on me. I've got fire starting materials on me, and a couple other things, whistle and so on. I'll do another video on this knife specifically. You see me carry and use this a lot. It's actually a hunting knife. It's not a bushcraft knife. It's got a micro bevel. Not great for you know, shaving sticks or feather sticks, but it does a great job of processing fish and game if necessary, and wood. It's a lot stainless steel, so it's a very tough blade. A little harder to sharpen, but anyway, that's the type of knife I like to carry. I don't carry bushcraft knives. I carry sturdy, heavy-duty, multi-purpose knives. So that's on my belt at all times. That or one of my other knives. Rain gear, very, very lightweight. Mountain Equipment Co-op. Rain gear, it's, what the heck is, I forget what the kind is, but anyway, really lightweight. Not so much at this time of year for shedding water and rain, because you're going to get wet from sweat anyway, but just to wrap myself in that, put that on and cinch it up tight if I'm, you know, huddled under a tree or something during a rainstorm, or at night if I am stuck out there. I want to retain my body heat, so rain jackets are great for that. Cinch them up tight, keep your body heat in. So that, I'll stick that in a Ziploc bag typically. It's pretty small, so it's worth carrying. Snare wire, always in my packs. It's in my survival pack, and it's in my regular packs. Great for doing just what it's called snare wire, so snaring animals for emergency food. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, snared rabbits and squirrels and so on. It's also great for gear repair, so if I need to stitch up a pack and I don't have rope, which I actually don't have any paracord in here, I'll probably add some. Sometimes carry it and sometimes don't. This is actually very sturdy repair material, so especially for a canoe, putting a gunwale back on a canoe or something, I like to have the wire. Always bring a light. I've got one strapped under my canoe actually. It's required gear, safety gear for Transport Canada for boating. If you're on the water after hours, you have to have a flashlight on you. That's a floating and waterproof flashlight, so it's strapped to the underside of my canoe seat so that I'm always compliant, but it's also handy if I need to grab it in a hurry, and you never know when you're going to be out there on the water after dark. So, but anyway, I like to bring this as well. This is a lot more convenient to just put on my head on a portage if I do end up being stuck out there later at night. Maybe I have an emergency and I have to get out, so and you have to travel at night. I like the Black Diamond Storm because it's waterproof. Also has the red lights here, and what that's good for is when you're walking at night, you want your eyes to be able to focus in the dark areas too. When you use the white light, your eyes, your pupils dilate, and all you can see is what's lit up. You can't see into the dark areas. When you use red light, your eyes don't dilate for light. Instead, you can see into the dark as well, into the dark forest as well as what's lit up by the red light. So that always goes with me. Great. Don't even use a set of batteries the last 2 years and that. I don't use it that often, but always handy when I do need it. So again, if I get stuck out there overnight, I just bought this. We'll see what it's like. I'm going to try sleeping in this a few nights just on its own. I'm not going to bring it anything else other than this for a couple of trips later this year. I'm going to give it a try. I hear it's not very sturdy or robust, so I might regret that, but it's a good emergency bivvy, the Sol thermal bivvy, and it's just very lightweight. It's like a mylar material, and what that'll do is, if I get stuck out, I can just sleep in that, climb under a tree or a little cave or something, and that'll keep me dry and holding my body heat. So that's going with me again on this trip, on these little day trips, along with that. Great little head net, bug net. Fits over my Tilly hat, and then cinches tight around the neck, so it's very good at keeping bugs out. But what I really have it for on this trip and other trips like this is that if I'm sleeping in that, there's no bug net built into that thing, so my head's exposed. You don't want to get eaten by mosquitoes all night, or you don't want ticks climbing in with you. So that combined with that is my sleep system for an emergency trip like that, or emergency sleepover. Okay, what else is in here? I've got bear repellent, actually dog deterrent. Reason being, I don't feel like carrying a big full-size canister of bear spray or two. Not necessary in my opinion in Algonquin Park, so I'm not nervous about bears. But in a pinch, that would do something. It's only half the strength, half the pepper of real bear repellent, but it would do it. It's gonna do something for you. I don't know if it's enough. Not going to recommend that to everybody, but for me, I'm comfortable with carrying that. Another lighter stashed throughout my gear, like I said. I'll have one in my pocket as well. That'll be in something watertight. Trusty roll of duct tape. In this case, it's a different kind of tape. It's the hurricane tape. Sticks really well to the Kevlar canoe for if I need a repair, if I've got a hole. But what I really like about duct tape, or this kind of tape, is it's great for wounds. So if I need to wrap my arm up because I've cut my arm open, that's going to hold the wound together, or I can make a splint with that and a stick and some padding. Always carry that. Full roll, bigger roll as you really can or you can fit and you don't mind the weight of. Because if you have to put a canoe back together because you wrapped it around a rock, you could use a full roll of duct tape and actually paddle that thing out of there. Last but not least, I've got my Spot Generation 3 beacon that will be in the bottom of the pack. Never had to use it for emergency purposes, but it makes my family comfortable if I'm carrying that. I do send them an okay message every morning. I've got a delay message, so on a day trip, if I'm going to be stuck out there overnight, nice to be able to send them an okay message. And that's it. That's my pack. Everything gets stuffed back in there. That'll be tied to the thwart or carabiner to the thwart of the canoe, and it's you know, throw it on my shoulders, put the canoe on my shoulders, and away I go. So that's it. That's my day pack. If you have any questions on that, just ask them below or provide your comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks again for watching, and if you like this video and my others, please check them out, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.